Have you ever wondered about how to use Twitch's highlighter and need a little help? Did you see this message and thought, I'd love to do that, but how? Grab your cup of tea and get ready for me to help you in this video. No more buts. Let's get to it. AmethystLady at your service. Hello everyone, I'm AmethystLady, your favorite purple lady with a passion for people and gaming. Welcome to another video. If you are new to my channel and want to learn helpful information about Twitch and other topics that could benefit you as a content creator, click that subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget about that so you don't miss a thing. Let's get into it. This first little bit of info is just in case anyone watching doesn't know how to get to this feature. When you open up your Twitch, you can see your Twitch avatar, whether you go to your channel, which this is my channel, or if you just open up Twitch and you're on the main page. It's in the upper right hand corner, which is right here. What you want to do is click on it and it opens up this menu. And that is where you can get to your video producer. So you click on video producer and it brings you to where you can view previous videos on demand, also known as your VODs. Now, take note that as long as you have VODs, you can make highlights. However, your VODs do expire. For instance, you can see right here that one of my VODs says it is expiring in 2 days. That expiration is based on your hierarchy on Twitch. So if you're partnered, you are going to have your VODs stored for way longer than an affiliate. Here's a tip though. Something that's really cool about highlights is that they don't expire. So if you look here, and I'll just scroll down, you can see multiple VODs from multiple time frames. Some from last year, some from the year before, even some from 2016. I do have this VOD here, December 30th, 2016. So that is another hidden power of the highlighting system. So how do you make the actual highlight? Well, next to your VOD of choice is a highlight button, as so. You can see it right here. You click it and it takes you to the interface where you control the making of the actual highlight. I already had this page pulled up to illustrate it to you, so I will go to this one. Let's go through some features and buttons of the interface before we go into making the highlight. I promise this will make things make more sense later in the video. Now here we have the add new highlight button, and when you click it, it will create a new space in the queue for a new highlight made from the original VOD that you selected. You can make multiple, and if you don't need it, you would click the trash can icon and it will get rid of that particular slot for an additional highlight in the queue. Next to this button, the add new highlight button, we have a little pull down menu and the option to add a new highlight from another broadcast. So what this button will do is create a new space in the queue for a new highlight, but you can select a different VOD that's available for your channel and create your highlight from a VOD other than the original. This is nice because it enhances the efficiency of the process. So just to illustrate, let's say I wanted to take a new highlight from my Tekken 7 broadcast. You can click on it. You don't have to reload the site. You can actually click cancel and it will still put a spot in the queue for a highlight from that particular broadcast. And if you don't need it, you click the trash can. Once again, you don't have to reload the site for it. You can just click cancel and it goes away. The publish highlights button right here You want to click when everything is all said and done. It is the last step when your queue is full of all the highlights you want to create and put out there for everyone to see. These buttons are for more so management of your timeline, and we'll get into those in a second, but I want to focus right now on this little doodad here, which is the playhead. You can move this around on the timeline, and if you click on the pull down menu attached to it, then you can see there is a number of options that you can either click on to perform said action or even keybind if it's easier for you. You will find some of the same functions on the playhead pull down menu are available as individual buttons surrounding the timeline. That's why I was saying that we'll get into the buttons that are more for management, but I wanted to highlight this first to indicate that yes, some things that are here you can find here. You will find some of the same functions on the playhead pull down menu that are available as individual buttons surrounding the timeline. So there are multiple options to do one action, which once again helps with the efficiency of the process. Let's knock out those functions while we're talking about them. Start segment here on the playhead is the same as the start segment at the playhead button right here. Keeping in mind you can have multiple segments, this is how you choose where you want a segment to start. Same thing goes for the end segment here command on the playhead, which is also the end segment at the playhead button. You choose where you want a segment to end. Split segment here on the playhead allows you to take one segment and split it into however many segments you need. It is the same button as the split segment at playhead button shown here. This will only highlight if you are on a portion of the timeline that has a VOD segment. Think of the segment as a ribbon and this command as the scissors. You can split the segment into two or however many parts you deem necessary. When you split the segment, you can move the playhead and it will individually highlight the parts of the segment that you split. So let's say you take a break in the midst of your broadcast, as I did with my Mortal Kombat 11 story playthrough. This is the window for it right here. If you don't want people to have to sit and wait through your break, you can simply cut it out of your segment. So that is shown right here. However, to truly get rid of that portion of the broadcast, you need to use the next command, which we are going to talk about. Remove segment is what you will see on the playhead, but there is also a remove selected segment button. To make it easier to identify, it has a trash can icon. So in the example I provided earlier, all you have to do to get rid of the split portion of the broadcast is use the remove segment option. Once you do so, the segment is visibly missing a piece as intended. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate this. I'll use this window with a clip that I'm not going to use, but for instructional purposes, I'll go ahead and do it here. So you place your playhead where you want to split, and then you do another split because it's just like cutting a ribbon. You can see that visibly there are 3 different sections now, whereas there was only one. On the section where the playhead is, you can either click remove segment or you can click the remove selected segment button. Once you do that, you can visibly see that the segment is missing a piece as intended. Contrary to this, there is the add a new segment button. So that's the same thing as this command, add a new segment, and the button to add a new segment is here as well. This is what I'm speaking about. So what you can do with this really cool function is add back in any part of your VOD after the playhead location. This is a cool function because it will add back in any part of your VOD after the playhead location. Now, keep in mind, I do emphasize after the playhead location because it will not add back in any part of your VOD before the playhead. So I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate this as well. Let's say you made a mistake with how much you cut out. You just click add new segment and it fills it right back in. It becomes its own split segment. So if you make any mistakes splitting and removing, you can easily add it right back in. I'll go ahead and do this again. I'll use this command on the playhead and you can just keep doing it as so. Pretty easy. Now, some other buttons and functions to keep in mind are as follows. You can manually enter in the start and stop times for your segment in the input start and input end segment timestamp areas on the timeline, which are these here. So if you want to get super specific, that is definitely the easiest way. Zoom range, which is right here, allows you to see the whole timeline or specific parts of the timeline down to the minute. This can be useful if you have many highlights or if you've had a super long broadcast and need to see a specific range of time. So this goes from full length down to 1 minute. This is 30 minutes worth of zoom range, whereas this is 1 minute worth of zoom range. Let's go ahead and reset this back to full range. Preview all segments, which is right here, will have all the segments of the timeline play from the very beginning segment, regardless of the zoom range. So as you can see, it restarted at the beginning of this particular segment or series of segments. Starts from the very first one. Preview selected segment will have the selected segment of the timeline play from the very beginning. So let's say we want just this small segment to play. You would preview selected segment, which is right here, and it'll start from the beginning. Now mind you, with these, it just places the playhead at the beginning. You do have to click, this is how I get it to work. You would click pause and then play, and it'll actually play in the video previewer, that particular portion of the broadcast, starting from the beginning of the selected segment. Zoom in and zoom out do exactly that for your timeline. So you can zoom in, you can zoom out. Center timeline on the playhead provides another way to view your timeline as well as navigate it. So as you can see, not much effect right now, but let's zoom in and let's move it here. If you click center timeline on the playhead, then it moves the entire view of the timeline to where the playhead is, making it centered. Now let's go back to my other window to illustrate my next point. If you have any clips made or markers made during the broadcast, then they will show on the timeline. So you can see right here, if you hover over this 2, it shows you the number of clips that are made, who made them, when they occur. You can even click on the particular links and it will open up those clips. So you can see I did have a viewer who made some clips. So for content's sake, you can easily see what has been created if it's a clip, and you might decide against making a highlight because someone already clipped that part of your broadcast. Or if it's a marker, which is not shown here, but if it is a marker, it could be an easy way to know where to start and where to end your segments. You make your markers while you're streaming, and when you do editing later, it is more efficient and easier to do your editing. Furthermore, you can toggle on or off the view of markers and clips on the timeline with these buttons in the display area, depending on whatever is relevant. As you can see, I didn't have any markers, but I did have clips. And finally, if you click this icon here, right next to both of these buttons, it gives you the option to have a spreadsheet with exact time data for the clips and or markers downloaded for your viewing pleasure. So when I click on download top clips data, then what comes up is a spreadsheet of this format here. So just another way to assist with your editing and fine-tuning your timestamps or whatever else you decide to use it for when editing your segments and highlights. Okay, so after all of that, you're probably wondering by now, how do you create the highlight? To create the highlight itself, set your title. Then for your highlight, pick where you want your segment or segments to start and stop, which I've done here. Then do your fine tuning on your timeline if there are any parts in the timeline you want to remove or other little time tweaks. Preview the segments. Then you either repeat this process with another highlight to create a batch of highlights, or if you're just doing one at a time, click Publish Highlights. In this video, I do have multiple windows open, and you can do that too. However, I just did that to illustrate my points a little better when making this video. So yes, I do have this one for League of Legends, but I also do have this one for Mortal Kombat. So now you have a better understanding of how to use Twitch's highlighter feature. Do you have any other tips that I didn't cover in this video? Definitely post them in the comments below, or even if I helped you create a highlight, link it in the comments. If this type of video helped you and you can't wait for more, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below. This includes if you have any questions on topics you might want me to cover in the future. Let's build each other up, keep things moving forward, and as always, Lady loves ya. Until next time, bye!